everyone, welcome to Love to Create by Tonya. Today I'm going to be working on a neutral fall pumpkin DIY, and this Dollar Tree pumpkin DIY is so charming. I think you're going to love it. Now let's go ahead and get started with the supplies you'll need for this design. Believe it or not, we are going to be using these apple wood chips. You can find them at your local grocery store. I'm going to be using some greenery that I had in my craft box. And then I'm going to be using all of these little wood pumpkins from Dollar Tree. And I will leave in the description below everything that I use for this design. Now this is going to be a neutral design, so I'm going to be using some of the plaster and then some of the ivory white. But I wanted to do an undertone color, and I chose these green colors to do as my undertone. And then of course I'm going to be using just some black to drag through to give the lines of the pumpkin and a little bit of rope twine. Now I'm going to take this little wood board that I had purchased back in the spring, and I'm just going to cover this with a coat of the truffle and dry it really well. And then I'm going to remove all the extra from the pumpkins. The one had glitter on it, a couple of them did, so I got that off of there. Now I'm going to arrange these pumpkins on that wood board, and I love the way this turned out. And what I'm going to do is kind of make these look like they were pumpkins all piled up in a pumpkin patch. So I want them to be very straight across at the bottom. So I'm going to use this technique right here to just cut the bottom of the pumpkins off to make them flat where they'll fit really neatly up against this board. And everyone, I love how this design turned out, and I have a few more ideas for doing some similar DIYs like this that I can't wait to share with you. But you can see what I'm doing there. I placed that pumpkin on the board so I know how much I need to cut off of here. And I'm going to do that with each and every one of the pumpkins until I get them arranged just the way that I want to see them on my fireplace mantle is where I think I'm going to display this. And you can arrange these however you like. You can stack them up high on top of each other. But you can see I'm just going to kind of scoot this one over to the side, and it doesn't have to fit completely on the board because I'm trying to make like a long centerpiece for my fireplace. And you can see what I'm doing to this one on the left is I'm going to do that at an angle almost like the pumpkin is laying on its side. And I just love how this turned out. And I just use my utility knife. It cut right through these really well because this is just those really thin Crafter's Square pumpkins from Dollar Tree. And like I said, everyone, all of the items will be listed in the description below. And I do like to just sand these lightly a little bit just to get off those little edges off of there. Now you will need to cut the tips off of there. You saw that I just cut that tip off, and that's because of what we're going to be using for our stem for these pumpkins. Well, everyone, you'll have to let me know what you think of this design. I was so thrilled how this turned out, and I like taking several of these items and just putting them together to make a big centerpiece. And I like to put like something really big in the middle of my fireplace design. I always like to have the little candlesticks on each side. But this was a really good one and a really fun one and very simple to do. And I'll go ahead and give you all a little hint. I have decided for my giveaway, I am going to collect all of the items that I have used for a few of these designs that I have been doing. And it's going to be like a little packet, and those are going to be included in my giveaway when I reach the 3,000 subscribers. So that way you'll have everything you need. I'm even going to put the amount of paint that you're going to need in there for these. So it'll make it really easy for you to recreate these designs. Okay, you can see how I was just cutting those down and getting everything straight across. And I thought this was such a fun way to do this, that you could lean the pumpkins at an angle and just make them look like they were laying on their side. But you'll have to let me know what you think of this design. I definitely got some more really fun ideas for this one. Now you'll see I'm just doing a little scoring through there, and I just wanted to have those lines so when I put on all of my layers of paint that some of it would kind of seep down into those little places that I scored there. That way it would make it darker, and that worked really well when I applied the undertone colors and the black, and it really made those lines of the pumpkin stand out. Now I'm going to go ahead and start painting these pumpkins, and I'm going to start out using the plaster chalk paint just to get a base coat on these, and then we'll work our way up to adding those undertone colors. And keep in mind, everyone, I just decided to use the neutral colors in my home, probably in the living room and the kitchen area, but these would look wonderful with all of those different fun colors of the pinks and the teals and the greens, and the traditional fall colors of the orange and the yellows and the reds. Oh, and don't forget the blue tones for the beachy theme. I just see so many things that you can do with this design, and I hope that you're enjoying it, and I hope I'm giving you some wonderful ideas to create your own design like this. Now you can see I'm just getting that plaster paint on there, and I think I do a couple of coats on here because I really want to get that base color on there, because when I start adding the greens that I chose, I'm going to be taking a baby wipe and just blending those in, because I really just wanted the faintest color of undertone in these. And then I do take some of the beige color tones and I'll be adding those in. I think I use a mushroom. Like I said, I'll make sure I have all those in the description below of the actual colors that I use for my particular design. But everyone, let me tell you how I come about finding the stems for this. I was actually in the aisle at the grocery store getting ready to get some little lunch baggies, and I turned around and I saw that little area there where they have the stuff for grilling, and I had always looked at the little wood logs that they have for your fireplace and for grilling out. And I saw those wood chips, and there's some of them in the bags you'll kind of have to look through that are, bigger and smaller pieces, which I have some fun designs coming up that I'm going to be using those apple wood chips for some other creations. But they made the neatest stems for the pumpkin. So definitely, if you can find them at Lowe's, or they were at, like I said, my local grocery store, it was such a fun idea to add these little wood chips. And I just decided to pick the apple scent. I wasn't real sure what the other ones did, if they had a smell to them, but they really didn't. I think it's more about flavoring your food when you're cooking. But such a fun idea. Okay, back to the pumpkins. And you can see there, I'm just taking that black paint, and I had also taken the green, and I'm going to add a little bit more, and I almost left them with the darker tones, but I was really wanting that neutral design for my look this year. But just take a baby wipe and you can blend all of those colors in really well. And that was a linen paint, and there's the mushroom that I used for this design. And like I said, paint these in any color you want to match your decor. But I love this technique where you can take and put these colors in here, and you can see I just kind of brushed them on there kind of messy, and then the more you wipe them off with the baby wipe, it will kind of remove some of that and blend it really well. And I decided I like white, so I just wanted to take that tiny little pumpkin and I wanted to paint it with just the white chalk paint and a little bit of that black running through there. And then I kind of went back over and added a little more white highlights just throughout. But what a fun design this was, and I can't wait to hear your comments on this one and let me know if you really enjoyed this one today, because I know I definitely enjoyed creating this one. And the reason why, let me tell you a little bit why I love to do the undertone colors. And anytime you want to have something look like it has a lot more depth, adding all of those undertone colors, and you may put it on there and think, oh my God, this is too bright. But as long as you keep layering your colors over top of there and wiping it down with that baby wipe, it will just blend those colors in, and it just gives that realistic look to some of the creations that you do. Well, everyone, I do want to tell you that I noticed that since I had done the challenge that I've got a lot of new subscribers, and I welcome all of you. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, and all of my subscribers that have been with me, I thank you so much for staying with me. I have been working really hard to try to just keep going at this YouTube journey of mine, and I have so much more to share with you over the next few months. This is such a wonderful time for creators, and to create and share all of our ideas with everyone out there. And you can see I'm just constantly blending different colors on here, just mixing and blending just till I get the desired look that I want to see for the colors that I want to have in my home. Now, after you get all of your pumpkins painted, I went back over mine one more time with that little baby wipe, and I just kind of cleaned them up. And you can add a layer of Mod Podge to these to seal those. I didn't actually do that on these. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these placed on my board that I painted with the truffle chalk paint. And I'm just going to glue these on with my Gorilla Hot Glue. And you could also use wood glue on this if you like. Now, once I get these all glued together, now I'm going to go ahead and start pulling out the wood chips that I want to use on this design. Oh my goodness, everyone. Don't you just love how these little wood chips turned into pumpkin stems? Now, I'm just going to take some of my greenery that I had in my craft box, and I'm just going to cut some little bitty pieces because I want to add those to the bottom of my pumpkin stems. And then I'm going to take some of my rope twine and just add a few of those little rope twine bows around this design. And I left that pretty simple because, like I said, I'm trying to keep that neutral design in my home with just lots of greenery and then the rope and the whites and the beige. I just love that color tone this year. Now for those rope bows, I'm just going to do that simple design where you just wrap a few of them around your fingers and then just tie it in the middle. And like I said, just attach those right underneath my pumpkin stem. But wouldn't this design be pretty? You could use leaves, you could use florals for this design. I think there's just so many different ways that you could create this one. Well, everyone, I hope you have enjoyed today's DIY, and I hope I've given you an idea to create something like this for a spot in your home. I do have a small little video coming up next where I displayed this one on my fireplace. Well, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed today's DIY, and if so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and drop me a comment and let me know what you think of this one, and let me know what other colors you might create this in. I hope you've had a happy Labor Day weekend, and I will see you on the next one.